All right, gang. A number of you have asked me about the not all men hashtag, the all men hashtag, the issue going around right now with the woman who was killed in England, and more importantly, what's underneath it. So let's dive into this. For years, I taught women's self-defense courses. So, like, in the fucking trenches, listening to the stories of ex-boyfriends, current boyfriends, husbands. I remember a woman sharing that, like, her UPS guy tried to attack her and she fought him off. Like, I've been in the trenches. I was a bodyguard for a number of people who had men who were trying to kill them. Worked on the threat assessment side of that company, reading the letters, seeing the mail, hearing the phone calls of, like, I'm gonna come kill you, all of that shit. So I've been in it. So here are some thoughts. I think we need to tease out and separate the real issues here. The real issue isn't the hashtag. That's one of the problems here. If you are arguing with someone, if you are attacking someone, if you are calling someone or grouping someone into one group because they've said not all men, you're not doing the best that you can. I get the frustration. I get how exasperating, or whatever the word is, it must be to feel like you're alone in this fight and people are dismissing your daily experience. And yet, if we're talking to men and we're talking about what's true, then not all men is true, because it is not all men. If we have one example that's a counter, it's not true. And that's so much less important. If you're arguing the goddamn hashtag, we saw this all last summer with Black Lives Matter. If you're arguing the hashtags, you're missing the point. And you've now removed yourself from actually shifting and doing anything about the root. And now you're talking about one of the branches, and you're talking about a separate branch. So while I understand the passion and the frustration as much as I can as a man, you're missing a golden opportunity here. And the golden opportunity is to enroll, hear that word, to enroll whoever it is that is saying this onto your side so that they can actually help with the issue. And so I'm talking about reality here. I'm not talking about social justice. I'm not talking about the internet. I'm not talking about what flies around on social media. I'm talking about the root of the issue. How do we get to and solve the root of the issue? And we don't do that by arguing hashtags. We don't do that by saying, oh, you said not all men. That puts you in this category of rapist, misogynist, white supremacist, whatever the fuck we want to add. That immediately turns that guy's brain off and doesn't allow you to enroll him into being on your side. I remember talking about this years ago when Me Too came out and saying, instead of yelling at non-rapists to not be rapists, why don't you pull them onto your side and say, I get it, you're not a rapist. And yet so many people are, and so many men are, so many people that look like you, that you hang out with, that you work with are. So I would love your help with this root issue. Because we got to be honest here, and I'm talking to the guys here, right? When we hear things that are fact being attacked, we shut off. We remove ourselves from the conversation. And we are exactly the people who need to be enrolled into the conversation because we're the ones doing it. Because we can say not all men, can't we? And we can point to an example. Not him. I know me. I know my friends. Not all them. But God damn it, if it isn't almost always men. If it isn't almost always, and when I say almost, I mean like infinitesimal, whatever the word, infinitesimal amounts of not men. Like 0.001. Almost all. The domestic violence, the rape, the murder, the whatever we want to say about it, is committed by men. And yes, it's committed on us, but that's a separate issue. That's not what we're talking about here, so we can bring that up later. Almost always men. And every fucking woman. I don't know a single woman who hasn't been stalked, inappropriately touched, inappropriately talked to, been scared, been attacked, been raped, been sexually assaulted, been kidnapped, been all the fucking things. I don't know a single one. That's what we learned in Me Too, didn't we? Holy shit, every single woman. And in this case, we have what? We have a cop who kidnapped and murdered someone. So again, a lot of people are being like, well, I'm not a cop who kidnaps and murders somebody. But it doesn't need to be that. Most women aren't afraid of a cop kidnapping and murdering them. They're afraid of their partner doing it. They're afraid of Bob from accounting, who like winked at them and they didn't wink back and now is fucking emailing them 12 times a day saying he's going to kill them. They're worried about us. All of us. Even the ones who aren't part of the problem, we look like it, we dress like it, we have the equipment for it, and we have the potential for it. So guys listening to this, it is our job to solve this. This is not a women's issue. It's not a fucking women's issue. Sure, women do bad shit. We get like another category of like all the bad shit women do. We're talking about this on this side. We can't deny, we cannot ignore the fact that this is a men's issue. And so if you're listening to this and you're like, but Traver, I'm not a rapist, I'm not a stalker, I'm not a murderer, I'm not a thing. Good. Brother, neither am I. And yet I guarantee you, you know some. I guarantee you that we can still do work on ourselves, for ourselves, so that the male collective shifts. We're not going to change the whole problem. We're not going to shift away. We're not going to solve the 1% of men who are psychopaths, the 3%, 4% who are sociopaths. Like, we're not going to solve that. But that doesn't give us permission to not address the other, like, 98% of the problem, which is us. And so again, I'm not asking you to go police your neighborhood, right? There's a lot of selling like, well, stop, you guys, when you see this, stop this. I don't see it. Then again, I'm not in bars, I'm not in clubs, I'm not in offices, but yet I know it exists. And so if I can't see it, and I can't, like, I'm not gonna call love bombs today and be like, hey man, don't rape and murder somebody. He'd be like, thanks man, I'm having a burrito. But what I can do is I can look at all of my own behavior. I can look at what I have in my shadow. I can look at the like 0.1% of me that will still laugh at a joke, that'll still like brush something off that a guy says. It's like, oh, that's a flag, right? Those of you who do drink, those of you who are in more social situations, you probably got a guy in your friend group who's a little handsy after a couple drinks, isn't he? A little gropey, a little bit like, meh, you know, if we know someone who's going to do some weird shit, it's going to be Bob. No offense to the Bobs out there. I know I pick on the Bobs a lot. Go talk to Bob. Like, hey man, kind of notice that like after you get a couple drinks in you, you're a little bit inappropriate. Anything you want to talk about on that? And if he gets super defensive, stay in the conversation. And more so, here's what we can adopt, right? I have this ethos tenet that says, be dangerous, but not a danger. That's not just about physical training. That's not just about martial arts. That's not just about firearms. That's about a mentality. It says, I'm not going to buy into the collective culture. I'm not going to buy into the collective sexual dynamics. I'm not going to play the game that sets society up for men to be predators and women to be prey. I'm not going to play that fucking game. I'm going to be dangerous, but not a danger. And then I'm going to adopt this mantra. I want every guy on the planet to adopt this mantra. Let others be safer as I walk among them. Let others be safer as I walk among them. Write that on a Post-it note. Put it in your bathroom mirror. Put it in your car. Put it in your wallet. Become part of the protector class. Doesn't mean you got to wear a shirt that's like, I'm here to save the day. Become part of the protector class. And you do that by realizing that people are afraid. Mostly women, they are afraid. So many women are afraid. Your sister, your lover, your wife, your spouse, your daughter, her friends, everyone they know at some point has been afraid. And if we can do something, anything, one thing, to help minimize and alleviate that fear, and say, hey, I'm here. Just so you know, I'm here. I've done the work. I've gone to therapy. I've done the shadow work. I'm not jerking off to porn. I speak my needs. I respect you first as a human, then as a woman. I'm here to make sure that if I see something, I say something. If I say something, I do something. Right? That's how we shift this. Now, why do we want to shift this, guys, on the bigger plane, on the bigger picture? What are we missing here? We're missing half of the planet lives in fear. Half of the planet lives contracted. Half of the planet doesn't have a foundation of protection underneath them. I know I'm about to get weird with you, but the feminine is how they are the ones who will rise us all through the consciousness levels. And we are stuck where we are because we are subjugating the fuck out of women, because we are beating, attacking, brutalizing, whatever we want to say, contracting, keeping women in fear, keeping the feminine in fear so it cannot rise. I know that's a bigger picture concept, but it's real. If we want this earth to change, if we want the problems that we look out our window and see every single day, we have to get to the root of them. And nobody fucking flourishes, nobody rises, nobody grows, nobody expands when they live in a perpetual state of fight or flight. So guys, I'm calling on you, I'm asking you to take this on, to look into the warrior archetype, to handle your own predator archetype, to don the cloak of the protector archetype, and to simply walk through this earth with this mantra in your head: let others be safe, for I walk among them. And if you have a guy in your life who you know is a little bit fucking sketchy, talk to him. And if you have a woman in your life who comes to you with any single issue at all around not feeling safe, believe her. Let the benefit of the doubt be believing her. Why? Because every single woman she knows has been fucked with by a guy. Everyone. So imagine being on a team. Like, I'm a New York Giants fan, and they're terrible. But imagine if every New York Giants fan had been assaulted, raped, murdered, stalked, fucked with. Every single one. You'd be like, man, it's kind of uncomfortable being a Giants fan. I'm going to be looking all ways. Imagine if it was your team. Imagine if you were smaller than 60% of the planet, than 50% of the planet. Remember being like 12 and 11 and how scary it was to be around older guys? That's how most of the planet exists, and you have an opportunity to shift it. So not all men, I don't give a fuck about a hashtag. Stop arguing the hashtag, and let's actually start working on and shifting the root, and let's us do that. Let's men do that. Let others be safer because us men walk among them. Thank you.